Hello and welcome back to Audiophile Archive TV. My name is Andrew Hoffman. A lot has been happening the last week and a half or so. First of all, thank you all for all of the comments that was on my last video. Loved hearing from you. Some of you said I was wrong. Some of you said I was right. It's not what it was about. It was really just some self-reflection, and I thought I needed to tell the world about that because we kind of need to keep an open mind, especially to keep this hobby going. But we do have some updates, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. I first noticed it on the Instagram page for Mobile Fidelity. They have a new message from their president, Jim Davis. So how do you feel about that? They have apologized. They have said that they are going to be shooting for 100% transparency. And they've already done that. So I've gone to the web page, and it looks like there's some updates. The first place I looked at was the vinyl page, and if you click on Mark Knopfler Local Hero Soundtrack, you can actually scroll down and see that there is a source there, digital clone of 3M Digital Master. The same thing with the Young Rascals. If we click on that, we can see that there's a source. It's a 1/4 inch, 15 IPS or inch per second analog monomaster to DSD 256, also known as quad DSD. So we can see now that we have more information on the actual source tape itself and its specifications, also on the digital transfer. Now, a lot of these are different. So the source tapes have different sources. Some are from 1/2 inch. Like, if, for example, if you go to the Michael Jackson Thriller, that's something that many of us have been asking, what is it coming from? We can see source is a 1/2 inch, 30 inch per second analog master to DSD 256. Some of them have Dolby settings and different things like that, which I thought was pretty interesting. But the cool part is we have the information now. Not all of them are filled out. So I think they're still working on making the changes to their web page, but they're getting there. And a lot of the albums that we've been wondering about, we have gotten answers on. We still don't have any details surrounding the sources for the Van Halen releases that are supposed to be coming out, so that's interesting. Something else that I noticed is if you click on the Miles Davis one step right here, Sketches of Spain. First of all, it's a $100 box set because you're getting a single disc. It's a single LP. But notice it says 1/4 inch, 15 IPS analog master to DSD 64. So that's also called pure DSD or DSD pure. I'm not proficient in my DSD knowledge. I'm now learning. I've been forced out of my analog safe space, and I'm researching digital now. So DSD is pure DSD, and it's one of the older forms of the format. So then I went back to the vinyl series and go to the very last page, the oldest page, and you go down to, let's see, it's on page 7. You go down to Sketches of Spain. Here it is. Miles Davis Sketches of Spain. This was the original release. It's sold out. Notice its source is the same, 1/4 inch, 15 IPS analog master to DSD 64. So I have a couple of guesses. Most likely what happened is they used the original source that they used on that pressing, and they're going to give it the one-step treatment. That's what I'm thinking is happening. But through my research, I've also noticed that based off of whether or not you're doing DSD 64, DSD 256, all the different ones, they have different DACs or digital analog converters that accompany that format, and each one has kind of its own tone and sound. So it gets a little bit more complex, and that's where the audio the mastering process. That's where that mastering process comes into play. I'm not a mastering engineer, so I know that those guys probably have their system in trying to figure out the best sounding thing. But I have a feeling with Mobile Fidelity that they're using the old DSD files from when they did that pressing before, and they're just going to give it the one-step treatment. That is most likely what is happening there. Some other things that are interesting, because I was going back older in the catalog, and if you click on the Cars self-titled album, that one's on the very last page. If you look at the Cars, you'll notice that it was actually analog source. So it just says 1/4 inch 15 IPS analog master. So it looks like they've actually mastered that one directly from the analog master tapes to the lathe. And it's also the case with, let me see here on page 7, I think it's the Los Lobos, yeah, right here, Los Lobos Kiko. It also looks like it was mastered directly from the 1/2 inch 30 IPS analog master. So we are seeing some more transparency. We're starting to get some answers to our questions. There are still a lot of them up there that don't have the information on there yet, so I'm sure that they're going through the process and getting that information out there. Something else to note is if you go to the one-step description, let's see if I can find that here. Yes, UltraDisc One Step, the technology. And we scroll down, they have changed their graphic. It now includes the analog master recording and the DSD 256 or quad DSD process, digitizing process, as a part of that one-step process. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But, you know, DSD, are other audiophile labels utilizing that? The answer is yes. In fact, the biggest one that I know of right now is Octave Records. They are a record label that is connected to PS Audio. So I don't know if you have one of their power regenerators or some of their amplifiers or whatever. They have a record label too. And they get their own bands in. They have their own recording studio. They record everything in DSD natively. They master everything to DSD, and then they'll either go to Super Audio CD, they'll offer DSD downloads, or they will press to vinyl. It's very limited runs. They do runs of 500 records for each release. They never press them again. So this is like Audiophile Masters Volume 1. I have a few of them. I really like the sound of them. I'll be doing a review here in a little bit. Gabriel Mervine, and you can see DSD Pure, which is also the DSD 64. They're all stamped and numbered. We know David Grusin. This is his brother Don Grusin, Out of Thin Air, a nice piano album. This is 340 of 500. We have Temporary Circumstances, Clandestine Amigo. It's 112 of 500, and they come in these tri-fold sleeves, which you'll see in my review. I'm not too awfully crazy about the packaging on those. But I also listen to some other audiophile small labels. One of them is Chasing the Dragon. These are direct disc cut, so this is completely removing tape from the entire equation. They cut directly to the lacquer, and these sound amazing as well. Very pure, have a different tone, but what I love about these is that they are completely devoid of hiss, any of the tape hiss that you might get through the system that you would have from a tape machine. I also listen to Yarlung label, so we have Yuko Mabichi Trio and Sophisticated Lady. This jazz quartet is really awesome. And these are cool records because they're all analog, from what I can tell. And one of the mastering engineers is Steve Hoffman, and the mastering engineer to vinyl is Bernie Grunman. So They sound really good. All of these sound really good, even the ones that are DSD sourced. So, you know, a lot of lessons learned in all of this. How do you feel about the information we're learning from Mobile Fidelity's website? How do you feel about their apology? Is it enough? Are you still going to buy Mobile Fidelity records? What are you, a analog purist that has decided to kind of dabble in digital a little bit? Digital sources. We still have to have our vinyl records. I'm sorry. But, you know, what are your thoughts? I want to hear them in the comments below. Also, here's another quick question that I want an answer from you all on. Is it time for a third-party standard to be in place for all record labels when it comes to checking up on their sources, how they're getting their, you know, what the sources are, what the mastering chain is, and how that can be distributed to the public? Should there be a third party for checks and balances? Let me know. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Keep on spinning the good stuff. Have a good one.